The concept of the Trinity, encapsulated in the Trinity verse of 1 John 5 verses 7 to 8, has a complex history in its incorporation into the Bible. This passage, often referred to as the Comma Johanneum, has been a subject of significant scholarly debate. Here is an overview of how this verse came to be included in some versions of the Bible and its historical and textual context. The Comma Johanneum, 1 John 5 verses 7 to 8. The Comma Johanneum is a short clause found in some manuscripts of the first epistle of John, specifically 1 John 5 verses 7 to 8. In the King James Version, KJV, it reads, 1 John 5 verses 7 to 8, KJV. For there are three that bear record in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost, and these three are one. And there are three that bear witness in earth, the Spirit, and the water, and the blood, and these three agree in one. Historical context. Point 1. Early manuscripts. The earliest Greek manuscripts of the New Testament do not contain the Comma Johanneum. The oldest Greek manuscripts, including Codex Sinaiticus and Codex Vaticanus, lack this passage. It is absent from the writings of the early Church Fathers, who do not quote it even when discussing the Trinity, suggesting it was not part of the original text. Point 2. Introduction of the passage. The Comma Johanneum appears to have originated in the Latin tradition. It is found in some Latin manuscripts of the New Testament from the late medieval period. The earliest known instance of the Comma Johanneum is in a 4th century Latin treatise called Liber Apologeticus by the Spanish heretic Priscillian, but its widespread inclusion in Latin manuscripts did not occur until later. 3. Inclusion in the Vulgate. The passage was included in the Latin Vulgate, the standard Bible of the Western Christian Church, for many centuries. Largely due to its appearance in later Latin manuscripts, its inclusion in the Vulgate helped it gain acceptance in the Western Church, especially during the medieval period. Textual criticism and the Reformation. Point 1. Erasmus and the Textus Receptus. The Dutch scholar Erasmus, when compiling his Greek New Testament in the early 16th century, initially did not include the Comma Johanneum because it was not found in any Greek manuscripts available to him. Under pressure from those who supported its theological significance, Erasmus included it in later editions of his Greek New Testament after a single Greek manuscript, Codex Montfortianus, containing the passage was presented to him. 2. King James Version, KJV. The KJV, published in 1611, included the Comma Johanneum because it was based on the Textus Receptus, the Greek text compiled by Erasmus and others, which by then included the passage. Thus, the KJV and subsequent translations based on the Textus Receptus contain the Comma Johanneum. Modern scholarship and translations. Point 1. Modern textual criticism. Contemporary biblical scholars and textual critics largely agree that the Comma Johanneum was not part of the original text of 1 John. Modern critical editions of the Greek New Testament, such as the Nestle-Aland and the United Bible Society's texts, exclude the passage based on the evidence from early Greek manuscripts and patristic writings. 2. Modern Bible translations. Most modern translations, such as the New International Version, NIV, English Standard Version, ESV, and New Revised Standard Version, NRSV, do not include the Comma Johanneum, or they relegate it to a footnote, acknowledging its late and spurious addition to the text. Conclusion. The inclusion of the Comma Johanneum, or the Trinity verse, in some versions of the Bible is a result of historical developments in manuscript tradition and theological debates rather than being part of the original text of 1 John. Its absence from the earliest Greek manuscripts and early Christian writings, alongside its presence in later Latin texts, suggests it was a later addition that gained traction in the Western Church. Modern biblical scholarship and most contemporary Bible translations reflect the consensus that the Comma Johanneum was not part of the original biblical manuscript. Therefore, Trinity is a Johnny-come-lately doctrine. As such, it is clear that the concept of the Trinity is a late addition to the biblical canon, and thus cannot be relied upon as an accurate representation of the faith.